labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started.
Developer student clubs are university-based communities where students learn about Google technology and use their skills to solve local problems. Welcome to the Developer Student Club's 2020 Solution Challenge Demo Day.
Hi everyone. I'm Arman Hezarkhani, and in this video, we'll go through the workflow of building a hypothetical solution for the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. In the previous video, we explored the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals and brainstormed some sample solutions we could build. In this video, we're going to pick one of the sample solutions, and together, we'll quickly walk through the journey to building a successful demo. One of the ideas we came up with in the previous video was to develop an elderly-friendly education platform solving for the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, quality education. So first, I'll share my initial thoughts with my Google Developer Student Club's members. I'll introduce myself and my strengths, and I'll highlight what types of talents and experience I'm looking for in my prospective team members. For example, let's say I have solid UI UX abilities, but I need help when building the server side of my application, and I definitely need help leading the team and managing the project. Once I meet with the potential team members and some of us decide to join forces, it's time to do a design sprint. We do this in order to properly define the problem and then come up with possible solutions. For detailed instructions on this step, check out this video series. Once we're done with our design sprint, let's assume we've defined the problem as mobile apps can be too complicated for the elderly and the buttons are too small. And elderly users sometimes find the discovery stage too complicated, or find the course tutor style to be too millennial-oriented or fast. Also during the design sprint, we define the solution as 1. Build a platform that supports the niche market of elderly education. 2. The client app should be simple to navigate and has minimal distractions, like notifications or ads. And 3. Course providers can produce content specifically designed for the elderly, possibly by the elderly, thus providing a revenue stream to a usually underserved demographic. Once we've confirmed it with some potential users, it's time to start designing the user interface. We'll share this load between the team members, but I'll offer to take the lead since I believe I'm good at UX and UI. I'll share my workflow and designs, and the team will go through a few hours of feedback and revisions. This stage can take a day, or it can take a week. Don't rush to implement the solution before you're confident you've designed a workflow and functionality that solves the problem you have defined. In our design, there are 3 user types: the learner, the helper, and the teacher. And my team members are confident we're catering for all user types in the best way considering our specific market. So it's time to design the technology. We've decided to build a progressive web app instead of spending time building both a website and a native Android app. We decided to use Firebase at the backend to serve the course content to our users. At this stage, We'll probably share our thoughts with our teacher or with the DSC lead and ask for their advice on our designs and technology decisions. We'll also ask the DSC lead what workshops we should attend or what code labs we should complete, all in order to be ready for the tasks at hand. Bear in mind, this is just a quick walkthrough of this stage, so be sure to check out my videos on designing the technology or the many resources we have on the website. Next, we will spend the time to build our solution. On our team, we have a couple of members who build the progressive web app and a couple of members who build the server side, front end and back end. You might separate the tasks differently, or you might have less team members. Whatever works for you and your team is fair game. If we get stuck, we'll ask a question on Parthian. Through the Parthian platform, you'll be able to reach out to Google developer experts who are ready to help you with any technical questions you might have. Be sure to visit the platform to receive online support and mentorship while you're working on your project. This part is important. At times, you might get stuck or even dispirited. Getting advice from a world-class expert can really help your team push through and build a great solution. So, I encourage you to reach out to the Google developer experts through Parthian. Once we have a beta version, we'll go through some user testing and we'll get feedback. We'll iterate over our code and we'll remove any bugs that we find on the platform. Now that we're close to a great working version of our solution, one or two of our team members will start researching pitching strategies and how we should present our solution in a demo. We'll record a video demo of our app. And finally, we'll warm up our acting chops and prepare an awesome demo, which will inspire people to use or recommend our app to the prospective demographic of users. And that's it. Wow. That was 2 to 3 months of effort compressed into 3 minutes. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that it'll be this easy or super quick to come up with a winning solution. But if you're passionate about your problem and your solution, and if you use resources provided such as workshops, hackathons, code labs, and the network of Google developer experts through Parthian, you'll have a high chance of developing a solution you will be very, very proud of. So good luck to all of you. Use the resources, and we can't wait to see the awesome solutions you'll come up with.
hope you guys are having a great day so far. So, welcome to our third session on day 2. So, today's session will be a panel discussion with the 3 previous year solution challenge finalists. But before we start, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Joylyn Lineth, and I will be one of your hosts today. Before we start our event, we'd like to thank all our sponsors for making this event happen. Our platinum sponsor, PitchPod and Airmeet, our gold and silver sponsor, Wantedly and StreamYard, our prize sponsor, Google, and our online venue, Google Developer Space. And also our education partner, our very own PSB Academy, and our community partner, Google Developer Experts, Google Cloud, GDG, or Google Developer Group Singapore, and the Google Developer Student Club. And a reminder, if you guys have any questions, since this is a panel discussion, you guys can chat us on Zoom and we'll be answering it in the Q&A with all the speakers later. So now let me introduce to one of my co-hosts, Bhuvesh, who will be introducing our speakers for today. Hi, Bhuvesh! Where's the camera? You haven't turned on your camera, Bhuvesh. Oh, there you go.
Hello, everybody.
Bhuvesh!
Hello, thank you for the introduction, Jordan. So let me introduce myself. I'm Bhuvesh Kumar. I'm a final year student of Bachelor's in Computer Science. And yeah, Joylyn and me, we are classmates. So I'm very excited. Nice event because it's a panel discussion with not one, not two, but 3 global challenge winners from past year, and we're gonna talk about their solutions. We're gonna talk about their inspirations, and we will also get some advice from them for the new participants who gonna actually participate in Hackathon 2021. So let me introduce speakers one by one. Oh, so before we move forward, I would like to just briefly introduce the agenda for tonight. So first, we're gonna introduce each speaker and their solutions. And then after that, around 8 p.m. Singapore time, we will start our panel discussion. And towards the end of the event, around 8:45, we will have a question answer session where the questions picked from the Zoom chat will actually be imported here, and our panel will address the questions one by one. Yes. So now let me introduce our first speaker. Her name is Krimza Momin. She is currently working as a data analyst at AI at Airmeet company. She is also a former DSC lead at Google Developer Pakistan. If you guys would like to connect with her on LinkedIn, you can actually scan this QR code currently being displayed on the slide. And yeah, you can stay in touch with her. And let me give you a bit more about herself. She, according to a Pakistan news report, she is called a hackathon hustler because she actually bagged 2 national level hackathon. Yeah, I think it's such a big title.
That's amazing. Such an amazing achievement.
Yeah, I know, right? So she actually bagged 2 national level hackathons, and she is also the winner of Google Solution Challenge. And also she is the first story from Pakistan which was featured at Google's official channel. So I think it's a huge achievement, and it's a very proud moment for her. Yes. So I think now we will move forward and we'll introduce her solution for the challenge. Her solution was the application is called Worthy Walk, and she and her team members, they were able to produce an Android and iOS mobile application which can actually record the activities of your exercise, and then they can the application itself can generate points which the user can then redeem at local vendors to pay instead of money. So I think that is a very entrepreneurial solution. So let's see the live demo of the product.
I originally belonged to a town in Pakistan called Hyderabad. While I was growing up, I used to see people working on these magical boxes called computers. I used to get fascinated by it a lot because you could actually use it for talking to people around the world or play games. But while I was growing up, I used to see a lot of men using computers. So I wondered if technology is for men only. My dad encouraged me to pursue computer science so I could learn about the world of technology. Computer science in Pakistan is a field predominantly with men. So I wasn't surprised to find out that I was one of the only 2 girls in my entire class. And despite getting good grades and being very active in academic activities, it was difficult for me to find that confidence to lead. Suddenly one day I found out about this program by Google called the Developer Student Clubs and mustered the courage to apply as a lead for my university. I simply couldn't believe the day I received the acceptance email. Being selected as a DSC lead not only connected me with several Googlers or industry experts, but also helped me build connections with students globally. The most memorable experience was connecting with the DSC leads from across Pakistan and getting a deep dive into Google technologies through a lens of a community builder. DSC had me think about all the incredible people, personally and professionally, I wouldn't have met, and friendships I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the community. I learned the art of interacting with people, pitching my ideas at hackathons, working with stakeholders, and also problem solving, which not only helped me win 2 national hackathons, but also the DSC signature competition, the Global Solutions Challenge. I believe DSC is just a start. It helped me connect with myself in ways I could have never imagined. I hope that young girls everywhere can step up to create their own opportunities in the position of leadership. And that's the cultural shift I want to bring in Pakistan. Because saying yes is the best thing you can do for yourself.
So next up, we are going to be introducing the team called Worthy Walk. They built an app called Worthy Walk, and they're based in Pakistan. It's really cool. It definitely encourages people to have a bit more fitness and gives people incentives. So I definitely need that right now these days. So I would love to use an app like this. So we also have Kat from the Android team who's going to be joining us again to ask the team a couple of questions. So let's take a look at those demos.
From the past few years, Pakistanis have forgotten how important this daily walk is, due to which the disease pattern is gaining its huge changeover from acute, specifically in South Asia where malnutrition is given its due attention. But the emerging epidemic of obesity tends to overlook, where it causes 2 million people deaths every year globally. Having said that, there is another issue faced by our local businesses where they are having trouble reaching out to their potential customers. So to help these people out and to bring these death numbers down, we have developed an application called Worthy Walk.
Worthy Walk incentivizes each and every single step you take for yourself with some amazing rewards with the collaboration of different businesses and brands. And for the gamifical unit, a leaderboard where users can compete for an amazing prizes provided by different local sponsors. We launched this application back in December 2019, and here are some of the users' feedback.
So Worthy Walk kept motivating me to walk by its leaderboard. There are people who are trying to compete with each other. So I also tried to compete and I won on a bonus. I lost a lot of weight and won in air odds. So it's a win-win situation. It's very easy to use and I highly recommend you guys to try it.
Hi, team. Hi, Team Worthy Walk. So great to see you.
Wow, that sure is an interesting app, is it? So
Yeah.
since we have seen the Worthy Walk demo, the video, we can pull up Miss Krinza up to the stage. Let's welcome Miss Krinza. Woo!
Woo!
Hello,
Hi.
Miss Krinza.
Hello. Thanks for the introduction.
Oh, no problem. So, can we ask you some question? Like, can you first introduce yourself and maybe a little background on the application that you made during the demo day or the solution challenge?
Sure. I think, you already have introduced me well enough. I mean, you have played whole the story itself. But I'm Prince Mohammed. I'm from Pakistan, and I have been called Hackathon Hustler, yes, because, it has been a fortunate experience for me because every time I participate in any hackathon, I just win it. That is one thing which is I'm very proud of. And other thing is I love just playing with ideas. I love playing with problems that exist around us. And I think it gives us an edge having a background in tech because you have a freedom of creating something which will impact other people around you or maybe the community or maybe the world itself. So yeah, I mean this is what I do.
Oh, that sure is interesting. I mean, like being able to be called the Hackathon Hustler, is it?
Yeah.
That sure is like an amazing achievement.
Yeah, and also I think there was an interesting another post that you were the first tech developer from Pakistan whose story was actually posted on official channels of Google. So it must be quite a great proud moment for you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, my biggest opportunity turned into my biggest success as in the form of
Right.
someone, this big of the institutions just appreciating and recognizing the efforts. I think it was worth it. I mean, all the worth efforts that I've put into DSC and just leading a club or maintaining a club. It has been, one of the most difficult things I've ever done as a student.
Right.
Just gathering all the people around you who are just like you and just motivating them to pursue something which you believe in and having them believe in it as well, which was it was a big challenge, but I think it has been a great journey so far.
Right. Actually, actually learning from your story and watching all the product, the solution challenge, winning idea, I think we are really excited for tonight's event. We are really looking forward to ask you a few questions which can actually help our participants who are participating in Ideathon 2021. All right, I think now it's time for us to introduce the next speaker. Maybe we will talk to you later while the panel discussion.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the next speaker.
Right.
Our second speaker will be
Lynn.
Miss Lynn. So she is the DSC head of marketing at Google Developers, and as Bhuvesh said when he was introducing the first speaker, if you guys want to connect with Miss Lynn, you can just scan the link on the screen. And can you next the screen, Bhuvesh? So here's a little background on Miss Lynn. And Miss Lynn is a third-year student at Ho Chi Minh University in Vietnam. And she's the DSC head of marketing and the winner of Global Solution Challenge. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And she has an interest in marketing, brand management, and product development. And here we will have a video for her project. So her project is a Sharapy, and it's a digital support group app created with Android that helps bring people together who share a similar problem regardless of their age, gender, religion, financial status, and etc. After conducting an extremely rigorous user testing phase, this team had the chance to see all that TensorFlow and Firebase could do. Wow, Bhuvesh, do you think it's very interesting? Especially like when there are many people like struggling with sharing, because um, sometimes you just don't want to be judged, is it? And this app brings everybody together. Isn't it so amazing?
Yeah, and actually, I was personally quite intrigued with the idea that how the team is actually trying to bring the people of similar interests together. And in Asia, it's very difficult to talk about certain topics like depression, obesity, or like your mental health. So I think this application really gives you a safe space to talk about these all things. So let's move forward and see the video demonstration of the project.
Great. So now we're going to move on to the next project. This is called Sharapy, and it's created by a team in Vietnam. And so it's also focused on mental health. And we're going to be joined by our next Google guest, Kat Kwan from the Android team. So let's check out their demo.
Sharapy greets its users with a light green interface, which is proved to be one of the most comforting colors that can diffuse anxiety and help us stay calm and refreshed. After logging in and having a little update about their current mood, users will be directed to Sharapy homepage. Here, they can choose the support group that suits their needs in two ways, by topic and by date. With the first way, after choosing the topic of interest, users will see support group sessions related to that topic on different days. In contrast, in the calendar section, users can check to see which support groups take place on a particular day. All information in both ways includes the topic's name, the date and time of a meeting, and the number of slots registered. Users can also click on the heart in the corner to turn this information to favorites if they are unsure about participation. In the activities section, we have 3 tabs in turn showing all support groups they have joined, are joining, and are about to join in a chronological order. Before the meeting takes place 10 minutes, this ongoing tab will appear a page leading to the virtual meeting room using Google Meet and automatically switch to the history section after the meeting is completed. Besides the online support groups, Sharapy's community is created in the form of one-way communication to help users improve their mood even better. Sharapy's community is a place to share the user's struggles and fears, but not interact or listen to comments or create controversy. After express their feelings, it allows users to customize their privacy preference private or public. If users choose private, only they can see their post like an online journal. Meanwhile, by setting it public, users can not only freely release their emotions, but also receive sympathy through support or appreciate replying instead of comments, which help users avoid being hurt or offended by negative opinions.
Hi, Team Sharapy. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
Wow, that's an interesting app, isn't it? Like you guys, we can express ourselves without being afraid to be judged or being like scared to express ourselves, and it's very good for our mental health, right?
Right, and also like when you discuss so many stuff with your parents or maybe with your friends or classmates, you always feel a bit shy, and you always feel that maybe it's not the correct space you wanna show your vulnerability. So there's always a setback to that. But I think this application can really help you to stay in a safe space and express yourself and actually receive the feedback, which can actually help you to improve yourself. Yeah. So shall we move on to the speaker number 3?
Oh, aren't we going to pull up Miss Lind? Oh, there we go. Hi, Miss Lind. Thank you for joining us today. So before this, can you maybe introduce yourself a bit, like your background and other than the one that we said earlier, and also maybe a little background on your app. Oh, Miss, you're on mute. It's okay.
Okay, so I think that you have already like mentioned a lot about my background. I think that's pretty much of it. And yes, I'm pursuing the major of industrial management at my school, and that's kind of big, like a combination between business and a little bit of technology. And that's also proof that I'm very like a technology conscious kind of person. So yeah, I'm pretty, even though I'm learning in the business like field, but I still have a really like uh, a huge interest in technology. So that's why I decided to take part in this competition. And also the about the application, it's one of my like concern for a very long time since I was in high school, and I really want to like do something to the community, and I really want to like create some impact to the society, and especially to those who are at my age. Yeah, so that's why I have this Sharapy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting. That's very interesting. You know, like since usually like people in Ideathon, they would say that people the one from technological background, but you're from an entirely different background, but you're very technology conscious, right? How?
Kind of.
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Lin, and we will later discuss with you on the panel discussion.
Okay.
And
thank you.
And now we're moving on to the third speaker. Okay. Can you introduce him, Bhuvesh?
Yes. I would like to introduce them. So his name is Mohammad Alen Noor, and he is CEO and founder at Tulubot, and he's also the Indonesia's most outstanding student of 2020. And if you guys like to connect with Alen, you can actually scan the QR code on your screen and add him on LinkedIn. A bit more about Alan is that he's an engineer, innovator, and entrepreneur. He's also highly skilled in cloud computing, machine learning, business, and operation development. And he was also the one who actually led the award-winning team for global solution challenges. So let's move forward and actually see their product. So the product which the team was able to make it's called Tulubot, and Mohammad Alin was the leader of the team, and the product is actually smart glasses and smart gloves, which can be used to communicate with deaf people. So if a person who is deaf, they can actually wear the smart glasses, and if the person is trying to communicate with them by speech, then actually this device can show the text on the glasses for the deaf person so that the communication is actually easier. And also the team was able to make a smart glove which a deaf person can wear, and when they are using the sign language, the motion will actually be converted into speech by using the Google APIs. So I think it's a very interesting project because I think this is the only team which made the use of hardware and a lot of electronic and electrical intensive devices. So I think it's very interesting, and no wonder it won it was the one of the winning projects. So let's see a demonstration of the project.
So next up, we're going to welcome the next team. This team is Tulubot from Indonesia, and we're going to have Anu from the Cloud AI team joining as a co-host to ask the team a couple of questions. I'm really excited to see the smart gloves and smart glasses that they worked on. So let's take a look at their demo and see what they built.
400 million people all over the world are suffering from disabling hearing loss, and communication became one of the biggest problems that they are facing. An exclusion from communication can have a significant impact on everyday life. It can cause loneliness, isolation, frustration, and discrimination. Then what can we do? Tulubot came as the solution. Tulubot is an integrated assistive device created to help the communication, especially for people with hearing loss. Smart Glasses is one of the devices that offered by Tulubot. Is an integrated assistive technology that able to transcribing audio input into text output. It's very nice to meet you all. We are from Indonesia, and we are gonna do the best for the competition. Here's the demonstration of how Tulubot smart glasses working. How are you? Nice to meet you. These are several options in Tulubot application. Virtual reality. Smart glasses. These devices are connected with Bluetooth to make sure that the phone are connected with the smart glasses. And then we have live transcribe. Hello, nice to meet you. Deaf people are communicating by doing sign language. This brings the idea to us to developing smart glove prototypes. These gloves are able to transcribing gesture into audio output.
Hi everyone, it's good to see you, Team Televote. How are you?
Hi.
Wow, that's an interesting application, isn't it, Bhuvesh?
Yeah. Actually, I think the project itself seems quite big. I wonder how they were able to actually finish this project within the time limit, because they have a smart glove and smart glasses, and it's like seems like it involves a lot of electronics as well.
How about we pull up Mr. Allen here, and we can ask him some questions. Hello, Mr. Allen.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. So, can you maybe introduce more about yourself and maybe a little bit background on Tulubot? Wait, before that, let me ask you a question. Is Tulubot, Tuli is the deaf in Indonesian, is it?
Yeah.
So it's a deaf robot, maybe, is it? Am I correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so can you introduce me a bit about yourself and maybe a little background on your solution challenge?
Okay, so thank you for the introductions, Bafis and Jailin. So my name is Muhammad Alanur. You can call me Alan, and I'm previous winning solution challenge 2020. And right now I'm still in my study in computer engineering, student at Polytechnic Elektronika di Surabaya. So I think, yeah. So
hello. I'm also from Surabaya.
Really?
Not that it's important, but okay. Continue.
Okay. Just realized that. Okay, so about our solution is called Tulubot. So basically, kind of like a solution for deaf community. You actually already introduced the solutions, right? We are using smart glasses and smart glues. And I think that was actually really cool projects, and that our milestone also to bring a solution into a real life. I think, yeah, we will talk later, I think.
Yeah, we will have a Q&A after this with all the rest of the speakers.
Okay, sure.
Bhuvesh, do you have any question?
No, I think it's almost the time when we can actually start the panel discussion, and we can actually bring out all the speakers to have our panel discussion, which is actually the agenda for tonight's event.
Okay, let's pull up all the speakers. Hello again, everyone. So welcome to the panel. And if any of you guys in the Zoom wants to ask some questions, you guys can do it on the chat and we will pull up your question later. So, okay, let's start with the first question from Bhuvesh and I. So Bhuvesh, do you want to say the first question?
Yes. So first question is actually very general, because all the students, we always struggle with thinking of an idea. Like whenever you go into some hackathon or competition, you always are requested to present an idea. But I think for many students, especially for me, it's a mental block that how you actually think out of the box, how you can actually think about something which doesn't exist, or even if you have a problem statement, how you really, according to your current skills or knowledge, how you can really bring out a solution. So I think my first question is for all of you, that what is your thinking process when you actually are going into a competition or you are trying to address a physical actual problem statement, and what are your inspirations or motivations behind those particular solutions? Yeah, so I think anybody can start, and we can just discuss about it.
Sure, I think I'll go first.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, if you have ever heard me before, I'm so much an advocate of design thinking and how the whole process works, right? And
Right.
when we say that it's hard to come up with a solution which is novel, which is something which hit the jury and hit the audience around you, it's a wrong way to start the conversation. I mean, whenever you are trying to solve something, it's very important to focus around what problem you are solving, right? And even before that, you have to just niche your whatever you are wanted to do, especially when it comes to users, right? So it is very, very important that you empathize with users and you just ask them about their problems. So let's say you go to a user and you say, okay, tell me about if there's any problem that you're facing on a priority basis, right? Or in a daily life, right? And believe me, they'll come up with a list of problems they're facing right now. And just start um, on something which resonates with you as well, because at the end of the day, you have to advocate for the problem you are solving for, right? So this is one way that you can go for. Other way is that when once you are very particular about that, okay, this is the problem that we are going to solve, try to come up with a lot of ideas. I mean, at this point, it should be important that you have, I mean, as much ideas as possible. So at this point, quantity should be on the priority than the quality, right? Because the more the ideas you have right now, the more choices you'll have, and you'll just see that you might sometime face that, okay, my team is unable to solve a particular problem at the moment, right? And then you'll think of, okay, if not this, so let's jump to the other solution you have in the list. So just build a backlog. So this is one thing that I do. I just build a backlog of the ideas that I have. I list it down on a priority basis, and just I choose the one which goes and which fits the team as well. So this is, I think that's how you can go for, yeah.
Wow, right. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. I think now we have stolen your recipe for winning already. Then now everybody will be able to bring up their backlog list and win the next hackathon. Okay, I think now we will move on to Mohammed Alan, if they would like to add something to this discussion, that how their thinking process is like. Yes, please.
Okay. So I also agree with Krinza, right? And we start building get a lot of idea and then get into the backlogs. And it's also, if you know about the design thinking process, there's kind of 5 steps, right? Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. I think, first of all, we empathize what things actually our customers actually facing the problem. And we define from the backlog, all the backlog, we define what is the most ideas or innovate things that could actually really solve the problem of our customers. And then we ideate thinking about solutions and much more, right? After that, we go to the prototype, and the last one is actually test the prototype. I think that was actually cool tools for everyone to start to building our idea. Yeah.
Right. I think it's this is the very technical and structured definition. for the design thinking. Yeah, that's really cool. I would like to ask if Miss Lin would like to add something to the discussion. I'm sorry, I think you are on mute. I think you are on mute.
Sorry. Okay, so I think Muhammad and Krinza has already have a very clear answer about the question of the question. I just want to add a little bit more. Is that I think the inspiration can, the very like useful source of information can be somewhere that very close to us, like families, relative, or friends, or even ourselves. And I think we should understand like what is the most crucial pain of those users. What is the pain, and how can we, if we can define the pain clearly as clearly as possible, we can have the solution that that meets the needs and meet the demands. And another thing is that after I found after I define the problems and find a solution, I also search and find if there are any solution that's already available on the market. And I would like to know if that products or that solutions have any flaws or anything that any drawbacks. And I would love that if our team can innovate and solve that problems and can have a better products of the current available products. Yeah, that's it.
Right. I think actually I had a specific question for you. Like your mobile application is Share App. So
Sharapy, yeah.
yes. In the application itself, there are like different focus group, and those focus group actually address certain problems in the society, like obesity, health issues, or maybe mental health issues. So while you did your research before actually going into prototype and detailed designing, how did you actually manage to do the research? Because I believe that in Asia, a lot of people, they do not want to talk about mental health or obesity or other kind of issues. So how did you manage to do your research for this particular project?
Okay. So actually, I did mention that this idea has been like raised for like years ago, and before joining the participate in the solution challenge, I did already participate in another competition at my school, and at that time, I did have I have the chance to conduct some of the research from students at my school, and the sample the population can be was up to 900 students, so the database is very large, and we did gain a lot of insights of these users. So yeah, because we did have some research before the competition, before the solution challenge, so we have the insights, we have the data of the users beforehand.
Yeah. Actually, this sounds amazing. Like how you were able to actually collect this kind of huge data, like of 900 people. I think it's remarkable, and I think all of the panelists will agree with me that data is also a major part of design thinking as well. Yeah. I think we will move on with the next question. Joylin, do you have any questions for the panel?
Oh yeah, sure. So since this competition is a team competition, right? How do you guys form the team? Which person to take in and those kind of stuff? Anyone wants to answer first?
Okay, sure. I think I'll go first. But I think I just wanted to add a point to what Lynn said, is that, when we talk about validating the idea, participating in a hackathon, it's itself a way to validate if it's something that users want, right? Because if you're winning it, that clearly means that this is a solution which everyone wants it, right? So this is one thing that this is, besides doing the research, besides looking at the data, the most easiest way is to build a prototype and then just go and be live in front of people and audience and talk about it, and let's see how the support you are getting, right? So this was one thing. Coming to the other question, which was about, sorry, which was about.
So the other question is about that how you form a team for the hackathon or any kind of product development. Yes.
Yeah. Sure. So I think one of the things that I look into a dream team is the skill sets and the way how they are, good with each others, and how much ease we have to collaborate, right? So so this is my dream team formula. So if you have a capacity to build a 4-member team, make sure that you have a hustler, a hacker, and a hipster in your team, right? And I'll talk about what all of the roles is about, right? So hacker, of course, is someone who's a coder, who's a programmer, who at the end of the day builds the app itself, right? So it should be it's necessary that you have 2 hackers in your team to just build the overall the infrastructure of the app itself. The other thing is that hipster and hustler. So hipster is a design person, someone who goes through the entire design thinking process and helps you build the designs and the UI and the UX about it, and helps you with the MVP itself. So this is what a hipster does. And then there is this hustler who is good with pitching, who's good with networking, who's good with talking to users. Someone who's good with the client facing thing, because at the end of the day it is very important, because if you are putting your effort into something to build something, I mean, at the end of the day you always have wanted to scale it, right, and go to the bigger market. So it's very important that you have a person with you at the time, from the onboarding process, from the development, so that he knows or she knows everything about the steps, the users, the problems, the testing, the efforts that has put into the solution itself. So this is the dream team formula. You should have 2 coders, a designer, and a hipster, just someone who can pitch.
Right. Actually, I want to ask, like, which role did you play in your team? Were you the hipster, or were you the hustler, or the hacker?
So I have put on, a couple of hats. I'm very much inclined towards. I am being called hackathon hustler for a fact that I'm very much good at pitching the ideas, and very much good at coming up with the solution, framing the idea itself, talking to users and everything. So this was the one major part that I've played always. Other part was because I have been advocating for design thinking. I was too into the UI UX and make sure that the design is something which completely gives the feel to the user who's using it, right? Because we have to make sure that whatever whatever features you are developing, it's important, it's crucial to what your problem statement was. So I have been into these 2 major parts, but then I have a tech background, I have the advantage there as well. So yeah, I have played all the 3 roles at the same time.
Right. It sounds amazing. Yeah. Thank you for your feedback and the answer.
How about the others? Maybe Miss Lynn, you want to answer the question? You're on mute again.
Okay, I think my dream team formula is to have, like, if the team, there were 4 people in the team, like in this format in Solution Challenge, I would love to have 2 developers. One is for backend and one is for front end. A UI UX designer, and someone who can like lead the projects, or can do some design things, or can communicate well. Yeah. So I think that it's the 4 most important role in the team. And actually, my team have all of that. And we also have like another one doing the business thing, like financial things and like business analysis thing.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Right. So I also noticed that you were the only female participant in your team. So would you like to elaborate your role in the team a bit more and like how being the only female participant in the team was like for your during your experience?
Okay. So actually, I am the project leader as well as the UI UX designer of the team. Actually, at that time, I was not. I couldn't think that I could be a UI UX designer. I was self-learned at that time, and I also was a project manager because I am the one who come up with this idea of this solution and problem everything. And they think that I'm the only female members in the team is kind of interesting, like interesting experience since I think doing teamwork with male works much better for me from doing with a lot of like female members. I don't know why, because they are so logical. They are very like straightforward. They do not like they are the only drawback is that they are like very not very keen to communicate. They were very shy. They're very quiet. But doing with them, like sharing the work, sharing the tasks with them is very comfortable, and yeah, it's not that stressful like doing with other like females members. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to know that how different team members do feel about different genders and everything. I think it's even for us, it's a very good insight that I think we can keep in mind for the next time we form a team, that how the different roles should be and how all the members may need to feel equal about their roles and everything. So, Alan, would you like to add something to the discussion, that how you will form your dream team?
For myself, in our team actually is there's quite equal. So there's someone who basically is really good in communicate our ideas. It's Namira. She also a bit kind of like a business models and how Tulubot can sustain. And another my team my friend also working on a software and I working on hardware side. So I think it's really good kind of like team collaborations. So yeah, I think that's cool things in our team. There's a lot diversity in our team. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of hardware, Mr. Allen, I want to ask you a question. We noticed that you use hardware, right? The glasses and the gloves in your project. So, would you like to share your experience of working with hardware along with the software? And I think it takes quite a lot of time to do that. How did you manage to finish everything? You're on mute.
Okay, I think yeah, I agree with that. I think the most challenging situations whenever we are building Tulubot is actually building the hardware side. It is because there's required a lot of knowledge about how actually we build a product kind of like really good to use and how wiring the PCBs and much more, like I think it is one of the challenge. But good things is I'm come from computer engineering, and I also learn about how to make a PCB wiring stuff, and also kind of like 3D modeling. I think it's actually also helped us on building the hardware side. And for the first prototype, it's actually not directly into hardware. We working in kind of like virtual reality first. As you know, in the first video, right? We are prototyping in virtual reality to validate our idea. It is actually useful or not. I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, wow, that's very interesting. And now for my second question. What Google technologies that you guys use when working at this project, since the solution challenge is helped by Google, right? So you guys must have used any of the Google technologies. Anyone wants to answer first? Okay, Miss
Yeah, okay,
Prinza.
sure. Sure. So I think we pretty much used every Google technology which was free. We used Android for developing applications for the Android mobiles, and we used Google Map APIs to just track the routes of the user walk. Then we used Firebase for the database, and just to save the user activity, we used the cloud platform for the backups of the data. We used Analytics to keep track of the mobile activities, Crashlytics for the errors, and then we actually use Firebase test labs to just test applications. So we pretty much, I mean, everything just we had in our hands, we just try to build something on that as well.
Right. Actually, it does sound super efficient that like using all the Google APIs and testing the application in Google environment itself. I think it sounds like it's more effective and efficient, and it can save a lot of time as well. Kinza, can you also elaborate a bit more about that, like some specific technology which you really felt that this really helped you, and also some kind of mentorship which you received from Google itself, which helped you to actually learn the technology before you use them? Because I understand that as a tech person, you actually don't know everything, right? Before going into the project itself, you have to learn a few things, and you do need a mentorship and guidance. So would you like to elaborate a bit more about some particular Google technology and the mentorship received by Google?
Sure. So I think one of the things why we use so many Google technologies and not just something else, because we had this freedom of using another technology too. But the fact that we had Google developer experts, we had DSC community, we had other experts and other industry leaders from the Googlers who can directly help us on the technologies that they are proficient in. So it was, I mean, it was easier for us to connect on those platforms or those APIs, or maybe those technologies that are the others were familiar with, especially the Google community as well. Because at the end of the day, we had this community, online community, where you can post questions and they can help us understand how we can go about that. So this is why we used Google technologies, all of it, because it was free. Other factor was that if at any point we find ourselves stuck, we knew that we have someone to help us out, right? So if we have been using some other technology, third party platforms, it would have been hard for us to find the right kind of mentorship and the right kind of resource at that point of the time. So this was one of the ways that why we use so much technology. And one of the things that when this application was started building, it was built first on Flutter, and then we realized that we don't really have much of the Flutter mentors, much of the Flutter experts here in Pakistan. So we have to shift it towards the Android, which was very basic, and everyone was familiar with that, and the team expertise were aligned with that as well. So this was how we transitioned from Flutter to Android. And why this much of the Google technologies? Because it was easier for us for the longer run to have the mentorship and the resources coming from the Google itself.
Right. Thank you, Krinza, for sharing your experience with us. I think I do believe that, like, the Google community, the DSC community globally, it really helps us students, like to learn new skills and to actually, like all the time when somebody is trying to solve one problem alone, actually, it's better to actually seek help. And wherever you feel stuck, you can just go to like Discord channel, or like like DSC Google community channels, and ask out your questions. So thank you for sharing. I think I would like to request Alan if they would like to add something to this discussion as well.
Okay, so regarding the technology from Google, our solution Tulubot is much more about using Google Code Speech API for transcribing audio into text. So I think that was the main features, and the other side is actually more about like the database. We are using real-time database, Firebase from Google, and another kind of platform that provided by Google is Android. I think that's all our technology. From the smart gloves, we are built in Scratch. We are not using any kind of like Google technology. We are using from our models and stored into our Raspberry Pi. And yeah, I think just the smart glasses, I think. Yeah.
Right. So, Alan, your team and you used Google Speech to text and text to speech, and also you use the glove to actually translate the motion to text or speech again. So, I think me and my classmates, we previously worked with like some text to speech and speech to text as well. But I think it can be a bit tricky if the person is actually not talking in English, if they are talking in, for example, in local language of Indonesia or local language of Pakistan or Vietnam or India. So how did you try to use the Google technology for your local language for localization of the product?
Okay, I think it's a good questions. So for the Google Speech API itself, it's provide a lot of language, including Indonesia or Bahasa. So I think this is the reason why we also choose Google Speech API into our solutions. And for the smart gloves that translate gesture into audio speech, we are using our own model, right? And we are train our model itself and train the gesture from hi into hello in Indonesia, for example, something like that. I think, yeah, that's all.
Right. And I would also like to ask you that if you received mentorship or some guidance or collaboration from your local community members in Indonesia itself.
For local, actually, the support is actually more about the materials on machine learning stuff, and we also have a lot of community kind of like GDE, GDG, and also DSC for in our campus. And then after we are joining Google Solution Challenge, we also get a mentorship. So the mentorship is actually from Google. I'm sorry, Google developer expert, and then also Google engineers, managers, and there's a lot of feedback from them. And we also improving our solutions based on our feedback from our mentors. I think that's really good stuff.
Right. Because I think the only way to improve the product is the feedback. If you are receiving a good feedback from customers and users or the people who are expert in the field itself, I think that can really push you and help you to improve your solution. Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. So I will move forward to Miss Lane, and I would like to ask them the same question, that what kind of Google technologies they used in their project, and if they would like to elaborate a bit about a certain any particular Google tech. Yes, Miss Lin.
Okay, actually, I'm not the tech person. Yeah, I did mention that before, and I only know a little bit of what we're doing, what of our developers do. So I know that we concretely we have used Android Studio for building the mobile app, and we use Firebase services to as the backend side, and Angular framework for making an administrative websites. Yeah, and that's the only thing I know about all of the like back infrastructure of the apps.
Right. So, as you mentioned that you were not in the tech side, but you were rather in the business side or the front end for the interaction with the team, right? And I think Google, they also do have products like which help you to organize, which help you to to categorize your tasks, to prioritize your tasks, to put them in the sprint and manage the team. So would you like to tell us if you use those kind of technologies or products from Google in your project and organizing your team?
Okay, so actually, the whole process of doing the project, it's followed by the design sprint. It's a Google's product also, and we all follow the design sprint from the very start of the project to the end, and we also use Google Drive, all of the Google Suite as the like support products for our teamwork process. Like we use the Google Docs, we use Share Drive, and etc. And I think that's even it's very common and it's very like easy to use, but it helps us a lot in all of that process. And yeah, we also use like Google Meet like to because the period that we participate in the solution challenge was actually the isolation process, the social isolation, and the pandemic. So we actually cannot communicate like face to face and direct interaction, but we have to like work online together. So the Google Meets actually was a very like supportive tool and was a very like useful tool at that time.
Right. It sounds amazing. Like just now you mentioned that because like according to Krinza's methodology, you were not the hacker, but you were the hustler. And I think Google solutions and techs, they actually fit for all the roles, even if you're a hacker, a hipster, or a hustler. So it's great to know. I think we are running out of time. Joylyn, would you like to ask any further questions?
Oh yeah, we have some questions from the students. So here is from Kim YP. Hi all, for a competition like solution challenge that students have to build something with limited resources and finances. In your opinion, to stand a chance in advancing, do we dream big and build something big or focus on something small but impactful?
Yeah, sure. I think I'll go with this one as well. I think it's very important to know that, the criteria of judgment, particularly for the solutions challenge itself, is the impact that you are creating in your community, right? So, I mean, it's not a riskful way to it's not a risk to dream big, but dream realistic, right? You have a limited time frame, you have a limited resource, you have a limited finances available, maybe no finances available, right? So you have to just plan your thing accordingly, uh, build a product roadmap, prioritize each and every function, each and every skill, quality, quantity, time frame, what are the KPIs you want to achieve from that, right? And make sure that whatever you are doing is worth the effort, it's impactful for the community, and uh, it has to turn out something which users actually want, and not something that you were assuming that, oh, the users might have want this thing, right? So impact is one of the things which you will be judged by. I think you can go. I'm not sure if you have visited the Solutions Challenge page yet, because a lot of the judgment and a lot of criteria and a lot of marks are assigned to the impact only. So yeah, I think impact should be the major focus here.
Right. I actually agree with Krinza a lot because, like you just now mentioned, that maybe the finance or resources may not be the key, key value object, but the impact is the major thing. So, like an example, like the selfie stick. Selfie stick is just such a basic instrument, but the impact is so big. Like the huge population is using selfie sticks. So I think that's one of the examples that the product may be limited for finances or resources, but the application of the product is so impactful. So yeah, and let's see if we have more questions from the audience. Yes, I think there's one more question. Let me read out the question for you. Personally, I feel like ever since I started programming, I really cannot think of big or creative ideas. Okay, ideas that you guys have developed seems very big and unexpected to me. So, any of you would like to address this question? So, I think the question is basically that, like from like when you start programming, you think that everything else is so big, and whatever products you guys have actually done for the winning project, they are actually quite large products and projects. So would you like to address this question? Maybe Miss Lin or Muhammad Alan, would you guys like to address this question?
I think I can answer these questions. Okay, for myself itself, I really love watching kind of like Shark Tank, kind of like we are trying to pitching and something like that. And then from that, it's built kind of business ID into our kind of like brain, you know, and comes a lot of ID from that TVs or something like that. And I think for the program itself, I think this is one of the problem. I think I also experienced before I jump into the business, and how actually I know kind of like the business model or something like that. And actually from the story from your your questions about the programming side, you're focused on technical side, and it also good to you to learn about the business or the another kind of like creative ID. So I think by starting think of the startup, how actually startup works, and not the projects. We always dream big, you know, like we thinking the vision, what this kind of startup actually can solve, what kind of problem, something like that. I think start thinking big also really good exercise for ourselves. And yeah, start thinking how we actually could build a startup. I think, yeah. How the answer?
Yeah, and I think, sorry, I'm just jumping in again. I think, you know, one of the things.
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying about that, you know, the dream big kind of this narrative itself is very vague and subjective, because we don't know what you are talking about. So are you talking about dreaming big about the product itself, or dreaming big about the vision, right? So if you're dreaming big about the vision, your product can be as simple as, you know, just I don't know, anything. It can be an e-commerce website, right? Amazon is a vision, right? Amazon is not a product right now. It's a vision, you know. It's something we look up to. It's something which has disrupted the industry, right? So if you are thinking about dreaming big about the vision, go for it, right? But if you are thinking at this point, you know, in a hackathon stage, that you want to dream big about the product, scalability at this point is not a chance at all, right? Because, you know, when you say dreaming big about the product, it means scalability, it means getting more users, getting revenue, the business model, and that is not a requirement at all. So this was one thing. And especially, I mean, I have been getting a lot of questions about this, that, you know, we are not confident, we are students, we are not confident to attempt a hackathon. And I once wrote this post on LinkedIn. I mean, you can just go through my LinkedIn and just search the post itself. And I mean, it has been it came as a shame that, you know, you can't come up with a creative idea. And it's a perspective that, you know, when you go to a hackathon, you have to be creative enough, or you have to be technical enough, or you have to be innovative, right? But it's just a perception regarding how you see a hackathon, right? I mean, you can work. I mean, just simply take an existing solution, and if you are able to maybe update any of the features that users wanted, that itself is a product. It itself is a whole a lot new product, right? So for example, like we used to have public transport for a lot many years, yeah, right? And then all of the sudden this trend came in of the ride hailing services, the Uber, the Kareem, the Gojek. I mean, it disrupted. It's not something completely new. It's not something which has been discovered or invented. It's something which has been modified of the current situation. So if you're able to do that, it itself is a creativity. Itself is an innovation. Itself is something which is worth to talk about and to go forward with.
Right. That really makes sense and put the pieces together. Geraldine, do we have any more questions from audience?
Yeah, I think we have one more last question from the audience. Let's pull up the question. From Royston, how to go about to tap on Google Experts mentorship? Maybe Miss Lynn, you want to answer this?
Okay. So I found the Google Expert mentorships like really worth. It's a very interesting experience for me. Like at school, I don't know what is the other countries like, but in Vietnam we actually don't have that much kind of skill set, like the workshops or like the courses that provides us the knowledge and the skill sets of presentations of the doing the resume and CVs. Yeah, but like entering on the Google Expert mentorships, I was allowed to like the very interesting things that I did learn from the Google Experts mentorship is that the presentations workshops. It's I feel like it's some kind of like knowledge that I couldn't find on YouTube. It's from the experts, and the knowledge is really I used to think that like presentation is something that really is come from like it's the ability that we need to it's like something we cannot like it's from our stuff. It's in the blood. I don't know, but actually on YouTube I didn't find anything helpful and practical. But attending the workshop is really helps me to know that there are many other aspects of giving a presentation, of giving a speech, like before the speech, what we need to do, like what are the exercises, like what we need to prepare besides the speech itself. And it was really like mind-blowing actually. And the mentorships also like besides from the individual mentorships, I think the group mentorship is also useful as well. They give us the insights, what are the flaws of our products. They give us the instruction. They show us like what we need to do in short term and long terms. And they also like very willing to like have a connection with us and helps and be more support, like give more support afterwards. After all of the mentorships, they are very like friendly and like very like open. So that is a very like interesting and fascinating experience.
Any of other speakers want to add anything? If not, we can move on to the last questions. Okay, so I think we'll just move on to the last question. So, can you guys like elaborate your experience during the solution challenge and maybe give some tips and tricks for all the participants that is going to do the solution challenge 2021? So, anybody wants to do it?
Right. So I think we pretty much summed up all of our experiences collectively. And one of the key things that you should leave this platform with is that don't worry about what you are building. Don't worry about the solution itself. Focus around the users, focus around the problem statement, and focus around the feedback that is continuously just coming into your way. It's very important that you fail very fast while building, because at the end of the day you have to iterate very much, and right, one thing which is very important, which I realized in my all of the hackathon experiences I have ever participated, is that don't delay this stuff. Don't delay the features, don't delay presentations, don't delay meetings or anything, because the time just goes by so fast. I mean, it's good that we have enough time for the solution, this particular hackathon, so the solutions challenge. You have months with you. But still you need to start working as fast and as early as possible, because just make sure that end of the days you have, you utilize it by networking with the people around, because this is a great platform, this is a global platform, this is a global opportunity. Your problems will be focused, just recognized globally. So build connections, network with each other, talk to them, understand their cultures, where they're coming from, understand their problem, their point of views. It's very important to build connections, so that let's say after anything else, you'll just end up having the friendships, the connections, the mentorships, the resources, which you will always find worthy and always find very helpful. So let's say right now that we have just chatted around, so next time if I might need help with something, I'll just ping anyone, Bhuvesh, I'll ping Lean, I can ping anyone, and I'll just say, okay, this is the problems I'm getting, and I heard you saying about this, I heard Alan talking about hardware something, and I'm not good at this, so next time if I'm facing problem, I can clearly go to him and just I won't need to introduce myself all over again, because he would already know about me. So this is one thing which I think you should go forward with. Unfortunately, this whole thing is virtual, so I think you have to do an extra effort to connect with each others. You have to find them on internet, which is kind of easy these days, so do that.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. Like the networking and like keeping people in touch is the most valuable point of any hackathon or any kind of event. Because to be honest, in the end of the day, the more networking you have, the more people you can actually rely on them. Because as we mentioned earlier, that nobody actually knows everything. So according to the project, according to the solution, you always need to ask somebody's expertise. You need to ask for the feedback. You need to ask for the advice. So I think networking with the people is the advice which I think the participants need to keep in mind. Yes. Would anybody else like to add anything, like give any kind of advice to the participants for Ideathon?
Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the tricks and tips to the new participants this year. Is that I think that the important thing here is that not how pretty, how beautiful, impressive the UI or the appearance of the app, but the most important thing, but what matters here is that it is address the right problems. It is get into the pain of your users, of your target users. Do you solve the right pain? And the other thing is that you need to have the team have to have a very a timeline, a very detailed timeline for what you're going to do, because the time's limited and everything is in constraints. So you need to have a timeline for at what milestone you have to do what things, what thing will be completed next week and what thing will be completed after 2 weeks. And you need to keep tracks of everyone in the team work you need to do, even though you're in the business team. For example, you also need to know what are the people in the tech team are doing, and vice versa. and they also need to know what you're doing and what you're working at, and you need to like communicate like throughout the whole process of working on your projects. And the last thing I just want to say is that regardless of whether you achieve any rewards from the competition, it is not the most important thing, because what matters is I guarantee that this contest will bring a lot of like very valuable knowledge and experience to you, and it's very worth the time, very worth the efforts. Right? Yeah. I hope you guys will.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lynn. Ellen, would you like to add something to the discussion? Do you have any tricks for the participants?
Sure. I think I would like to give more about in kind of like very technical and do pilot implementations and then get testimonials and share your project. So it is actually very important because the judge of this Google Solution Challenge actually is really curious about your project and how you actually comes up into your inspirations, what is the story, something like that. And by submitting the kind of proposal, you also need to convince them, right? How your solutions actually bring goods that is able to change your community, for example, or the problem of your community. And I think you should do kind of like pilot implementations, which is to make your solution actually use in real situations, in real world. Even though it's actually really small scale. I mean, like a very prototype, you have built your own MVP, for example. And for example, you making kind of solutions for a COVID-19 detector, right? And you can collaborate with kind of community in health organizations or health agency in your village or in your city to try and invite the community to use it, for example, okay? And after that, record each positive result, both in numbers, data, words of the user. Then submit your all the data that you get from interview from the result that you already do. I think it's actually really, really good for the judges itself, and the judges will be really happy. It is because it's already validated, and I think it's much more potentially to get the win I think winning the solutions. I think that's from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So since the time is almost up, we should take a picture with everyone first. And for the audience who are in the Zoom, maybe you guys can turn on the camera so we can take a picture all together. That will be screenshotted, of course, because we're not there in real life, because this is all online. Okay, so yeah, just to remind no one on the Zoom, please turn on your camera so we can take your picture. So let's wait for a while, since people might take time to turn on their cameras. Okay, let's just take a picture. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much for all the speakers. So I guess this concludes everything for today for the session 3 on day 2. And thank you to all the speakers for coming and sharing their insights on their experience. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, our platinum sponsors, Pitchbot and Airmeet, our gold and silver sponsors, Wantedly and StreamYard, our prize sponsors, Google, and our online venue, Google Developer Space, and to our education partners, PSB Academy, our community partner, Development Student Club, Google Developer Expert, Google Cloud, GDG Singapore, and once again, thank you for making this event possible. Also, we also like to thank all the participants who have participated and joined us today. And just to remind you guys, we will be having another session on 15th of March. We will be discussing on 5 stages of design thinking, also using Google Design Sprint methodology. And the event will happen at 7:30 p.m. Singapore time. So, my name is Jordan Lynette, and this is my co-host, Bhuvesh.
And again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And I hope you have a very pleasant rest of your night. Thank you very much.
See you.
Developer Student Clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a Developer Student Club lead and start a club on their campus. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them. Join us in building a global community for students.
Hi everyone. The mission of this year's Google Developer Student Club Solution Challenge is to solve for one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. Citing the official United Nations website, these goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. During this video, I will show you how you can research these goals and brainstorm ideas for your solution challenge project. So starting with the official UN SDG site, the first thing I suggest you do is click on each of the goals and read the challenges each goal faces. For example, Goal 1, No Poverty. This page will give you a good primer to the challenges we face on our road to no poverty. And down at the bottom of the page, you can take a look at the facts and figures and the breakdown of targets defined for each goal. There's also an infographic you can check out to get a high-level overview of the current state of things as it relates to the specific goal. Go over the rest of the goals to get familiarized with them and see if any ideas come to mind about solutions you can build using technology. If ideas do arise, write them down to brainstorm further later. Another great site that can really help you generate solution ideas is DIAL, which stands for Digital Impact Alliance. We're going to focus on two tabs, SDGs and the building blocks, but I urge you to look at the other tabs. They are just as useful for your ideation stage. Okay, so let's look at the SDGs tab and take a look at Goal 2, Zero Hunger. This goal has 8 targets, which help you focus on solving a certain aspect of the goal. For example, Target 1, which summarizes as end hunger by ensuring access by all people to good, healthy food all year round. Okay, so immediately ideas start to spark. Maybe you can build a charity app that either accepts donation-safe healthy food or accepts monetary donations dedicated to providing food. Or maybe you can build a volunteering platform that brings people together to help the community at risk. Brainstorm with your team and see what aspects of these problems you are familiar with. Or maybe you have access to communities who are dealing with the challenge. Having personal knowledge of a problem will allow you to design solutions which are far more effective and easier to adopt. Now, let's take a look at Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities. Target 1, achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. What a well-defined target. Okay. So now you can start brainstorming again on how you can achieve progress through technology here. Maybe you can build an app or a platform that educates people on financial and saving strategies. Or maybe you can help small businesses grow through education apps or e-commerce and marketing apps that are specific to your community. For example, in my community, the elderly struggle with finding online educational content, and I might consider building an elderly-friendly educational platform. This platform can potentially provide the elderly with equal opportunities at learning new skills and at increasing their income. You'll see that going through these web pages will spark many ideas in your mind. Write them down and discuss them with your team. See which idea really strikes a chord with your ability and your belief. You'll be working on this for a while. You want to solve a goal that you are passionate about or that's really close to home. In the next video in the series, I'll be going through a demo case study. I'll pick up an idea and simulate the steps my team and I will take towards a successful demo submission. I hope the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals inspire you to solve for your community in a meaningful way. We can't wait to see all of your demo submissions.
Let's check out the solution challenge.
Let's do this.
Okay, I'll present my screen.
Welcome to the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The mission of this challenge is to use Google technology to solve for one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, aiming to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. Win cool prizes, mentorship from Google, and swag. Get help along the way from Google at training events, code labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started.